When you submit a new pfSQL query, by default, it's going to process all of the existing messages that were in the topic even before you submitted the query. This is what we're going to call the subscription position is by default set to earliest. Before we show you how to set it to latest and explain what that means, let me show you a quick demo. First, I'm going to I'm going to produce some messages to the input topic of a pfSQL query. The query has not yet been submitted. So there's our producer that is producing 3 messages to the position input topic. I already have a consumer set up that's reading from the position output topic. Now let's submit a query that's going to echo those messages across. Here I will submit my new pfSQL query. I'm going to call this position test. And let me go ahead and paste that in. It's just going to do select all from the position input and send it over to the position output. Let me go ahead and deploy that, and we'll wait about a minute for it to deploy. And back here in IntelliJ, taking a look at my consumer, you'll see that the consumer now gets the output of the pfSQL query, which processed the 3 messages that were sent into the input topic even before the pfSQL query was deployed. And of course, if I go ahead and right-click on the producer and produce 3 more messages, it will of course get those messages that were produced after I had submitted the query. You can always go over to the Functions tab here on the left and click on your particular function that is deployed for your pfSQL query, and you'll be able to see that the subscription position is set to earliest. Let me go ahead and delete this one, and I'll show you how to set the subscription position to latest so that your pfSQL query does not process any messages that are published prior to the submission of your query. So going back over to pfSQL, I'll delete the existing position test query. And we can use the options command here by setting setting subscription position to latest, and that will force the pfSQL query to only process messages after the query has been submitted. So let me go ahead and hit deploy on this one, and then we'll head back over to IntelliJ. So here we are back in IntelliJ. No new messages had made it to our consumer. I've actually restarted it, but no new messages make it to the consumer when you submit the new pfSQL query with the option subscription position equal to latest. But just to show you, if I do run the producer, of course, now that the pfSQL query exists, we will of course get, and this is the producer here, and on the right is the consumer, we will of course get the 3 messages processed by pfSQL. We can of course go back over to functions and click on your particular function that corresponds to your pfSQL query, and you should see that the subscription position is equal to latest, which again means that any messages that are in your input topic prior to the submission of the pfSQL query will not be processed by pfSQL.